Hello everybody, it's the 14th of April today, and another tree that I've nearly missed the boat on for repotting is this mountain ash. The leaves the buds are broken, the leaves are beginning to swell and open, but I'm going to repot it anyway. It's been in this seed tray for a while, and yeah, it's full of root, so I'm going to have to do a repot on it, and I'm nearly getting to the end of the repotting. I've got a few beech, and they're nearly always the last to open in my experience, and once they're done it'll be repotting over. So anyway, let's get on with this one now. If you've been following my channel for a while, and if not, hit that subscribe button now. You'll know that I don't really like moss growing on the surface of my pots. It's an aesthetic thing rather than anything else, but this tree in particular has got a lot of moss that's grown on for this root base, which, another thing you'll know if you follow me, is that I do like a traditional well-rounded nabari, but I also like a more natural look with this type of root base, where things are a bit more gnarled and natural looking, rather than being perfectly symmetrical with nice straight roots coming out in a radial pattern. It doesn't always look natural. When done well it looks superb, but it can look very artificial at times. But that's just my take on it, and other people will disagree, and they're quite right to do so if that's what they feel. Each to his own. But anyway, I just want to clean off some of this moss. I'm using a little grass brush to do so, and it's better. Pull it out of the pot. Nice and easy. Although I've had it growing in this small half-size seed tray, I'm still wanting to develop the upper portion of this tree a little more, so I'm actually going to pop it into a full-size seed tray, just to give it that little bit of extra root space, to see if we can't speed up some of the healing of some of these big old scars it's got a lot of. So because it's partially opened its leaves already, I'm really only going to want to remove the sort of roundy bits, rather than take off a lot of root, just enough so that the tree can actually root out into the new soil, rather than just the roots continuing to go round and round. A bit more of that moss, and actually raise the trunk up a little and expose this root base a little more. Yeah, okay. So because I'm going up into this bigger size pot, and in actual fact the roots weren't too tangled, I'm going to leave the root mat as is. And I've lost a few bits that have snapped off as I've disentangled them, but I've done very little root work whatsoever, so I built up a nice pile of substrate, soil, compost, call it what you will. I can then run this tree into, and that's ensuring I've got no air gaps under the tree, which is the hardest part to get rid of the air gaps from, and I'm not really going to have any issue with air gaps at all with this tree. which is good. I'm a bit croaky this morning. but never mind, carry on. So now we just need to fill in around and pop in some controlled release fertilizer as I go, and then we can look at a little bit of pruning up top. I haven't been too precious about the positioning of this tree in the pot. This is after all only a training pot. The tree does have a drift towards the left, so I have moved it slightly over to the right, but not hugely so. And I have, as I said, raised this sort of gnarly lump of a root base up out of the soil a little more, yeah, shouldn't have any worries about oxygen gaps particularly. And so now we can do a little bit of work to this top. Okay, to start with, we've got a very spindly looking thing here, growing kind of eye pointery, so we're going to eliminate that entirely, and I'm going to make this scar slightly bigger. This tree has got an ancient scarred look about it, and you know, I'm quite happy to enhance that. Next branch I want to tackle is this silly little thing, which got in my way as I was trying to do the repotting no end. It just has grown naturally in this strange little curve, and I don't like it. It's very weak, very spindly, so I'll remove that. And then we have this branch. We have this odd curve, and then it diverts straight up. I'm going to cut it back to this secondary branch here, like so. I may not keep it in the long run, but it is healing over some of these, or at least contributing to healing over some of these chunks here. Now we have a right old mess at the back here, and the beginning of some reverse taper if we're not careful. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 branchlets coming out from practically the same position. I'm going to remove all but one, and I'm going to carve that back a little bit as well, where there is that little bit of reverse taper going on. It is one more scar on a tree full of scars, and we'll remove that piece likewise, and then a little bit off of there. Okay, so I'm also going to shorten this. We have these two branches that kind of mirror one another. I'm going to leave the lower one, and I'm going to shorten this one back to that bud. I may not keep it in the long run, but for now, I'm going to leave that. Let's just take off this piece of wire. Okay, and I'm going to shorten the top. I'm going to shorten the top to this bud here. Like so. Now, it is a funny old ugly tree, I'll grant you. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Say it with me. I loves me an ugly tree. In fact, no, I'm going to come down to this bud. Like so. I'm shortening that back. No, I'm going to leave that one. Okay, so that's it. We'll see how this tree develops. Because I haven't really chopped the roots at all, it's not going to need much recovery time, and hopefully it'll start powering out the top. and yeah, we'll see where it goes to. Let's give you a quick 360. You can see where it's had a big old chop in the past. I've been growing it for a long time, and as I've said before, the first part of my bonsai career was just learning to keep them alive, and then life got really busy with children and work, and some I kept alive and did very little with, and now I'm picking up some of those pieces, and yeah, there we go. It's the 26th of May and the tree has been growing away quite strongly. I still don't know what I'm going to do about this piece, but I do know what I'm going to do about this piece, which is to shorten it back to there in the hope that it will break again from here. Likewise, this piece I'm going to shorten, and I'm going to shorten the apex here, and that informs me that this needs to come down. Now I'm going to chop it all the way down to there, like so. Still not happy, but I don't know that it'll look any better without it, but I'm going to remove it. It's just going to form an ugly lump there otherwise. That's going to leave a scar, but not to worry. Okay, that actually does look better. It's still got a funny straight trunk and then this funny little kink, but as I grow the head, maybe I can get something to pop in this area here. Would be quite nice, or indeed I have a piece at the back, and that's going to grow up, and that'll take away from that odd little kink as well. So I'm not going to touch that one yet. I'm going to shorten this back branch, just take the growing tip out. It's not growing as full on strongly as the other anyway. And that's pretty much all the work I'm going to do to this tree for now. The 17th of June today, and I'm just looking in on the mountain ash. So again, this is I'm going to do a lot of timey-wimey videos. I hope you guys don't find them too boring or behind the times by the time you see them, but some people seem to like them. Growing great guns, but I'm going to trim it back and just chop off some of these growths as they elongate. This piece down here I'm entirely not happy with. We have a main branch down here. Let me see if I can move you in a bit closer. We have this main branch here coming from the trunk, and I have quite a large shoot, dominant shoot, growing from just below that, which we will get rid of, and we have one also growing just above it, so I want to get rid of, and a third one in behind. In fact, there's a fourth one coming there as well, so try and avoid a bulge. Yeah, so that's about it. So that's all I'm going to do on this day. So not enough work to fill a video, so yeah, timey-wimey, and we will pop back in from time to time until I feel we have a video worth uploading. the 11th of August, and I'm going to give this mountain ash another chop. Just chopping it back, hopefully encourage it to build me a nice fluffy little head. Nothing major, nothing scientific. I'm just sort of going with my gut on this. I don't like that piece, so it's covering up too much of the trunk, so I'll get rid of that. I'm going to go all the way back in to there. That's better. This piece is very long and very straight, but if I prune it shorter back to this leaf node, then I'm going to have a piece shooting in that direction, which won't be any use to me. So I'm going to leave it at that and maybe wire it in the winter time. It's the 15th of October, and this mountain ash is beginning to show some signs of autumnal stress. A few yellowing leaves and some browning tips, but it's not really doing its splendid autumnal thing as yet. It hasn't developed as much ramification as I would have hoped this year. I've pinched the branches back and then they've just sort of sat and sulked and haven't really sprouted, but there's always next year. Just cleaning some of this moss away from the roots. If you're a regular watcher of my videos, you'll know I'm not a big fan of the aesthetic of moss. And I know I'm kind of a strange one in that, and most people in bonsai will cultivate moss and, you know, really want to get it, but I don't like it on the surface of the soil. I certainly don't want it around the base of the tree where it will sit wet all winter and possibly cause some rot. So just using this little nylon brush just to remove the most of it from the actual surface of the tree. So it's got a good shape to it. Still got this weird kink thing here, but that's okay. It adds some interest. I'm hoping this branch will provide some more ramification in this quadrant, and yeah, as I say, there's always next year. I think it'll be an interesting tree if and when the leaves come down in size. Again, like many of my trees at the moment, a little bit confused as to which season it's in that it's throwing out these nice new shoots at the base here, as if it's spring, but there you go. That quite often happens in the autumn, just not usually this late into the autumn. It's the 7th of November today, and I'm going to bring this video to an end as the tree is shutting down for winter. It's turning these gorgeous, gorgeous shades of yellow. Looking at the screen, I'm not sure the camera is actually giving it full justice as to quite how golden these leaves have become, but they are quite spectacular, and I think once the tree matures some more over the next few years and has got a big canopy, it will look quite glorious. Without reviewing all the other footage I've taken of this tree, my gut tells me that it's not going to be a particularly long video, so I hope you're not disappointed, but the tree hasn't quite put on the amount of growth that I had hoped. It's been quite slow growing, in fact, which is why I haven't filmed more, but all in all I'm very pleased. I think I'm going to put a little piece of wire on this branch just to bring it down somewhat, and maybe on this branch to induce a curve there over winter, hopefully. Other than that, I don't think I'm going to do anything more to it this season, or even in the spring. It's not going to get a repot. I will just allow it to grow and cut back and grow and cut back, and we'll see how we end up with next year. As I often say, I'll never win prizes for wiring, so if you want lessons on wiring, yeah, I'm going to have to say go elsewhere, in the politest, gentlest, kindest way possible, of course. My wiring is often a little bit down and dirty, but it gets the job done. I don't show my trees other than on YouTube, and other than the occasional snappage, which is unfortunate, and the occasional forgetfulness where I leave the wire on too long, I don't really have any issues with the wiring, and the trees usually end up bent where I want them to be, as I want them to be. And there we are. As I say, if I entered this tree in a show, even one that allowed wiring, I think generally it would be frowned upon. But hey ho. I think I want to put a piece on this branch also. I've managed to knock a lot of the foliage off, but never mind. So just gonna lock that into place from the back of the trunk. And I can bring that branch just down a little more. That's better. Okay. Let's just give you another shot of this gorgeous root base. I really like this root base. It's an old and gnarled and in no way a classical root base, but it does say I own this piece of land, and I'm sitting here, and move me if you can. So there we have it for another one of these timey-wimey videos. Let's just give you a quick 360. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate each and every one of you taking the time to sit through one of my videos. Do the YouTube like, subscribe and comment thing. Always nice to hear your views. And take care of yourselves. Stay safe, everybody.